I'm Anil Kumar. Let me first thank all my subscribers for sharing and contributing towards excellent questions on my YouTube channel. Now, I have compiled few questions which I've been receiving from students who are practicing for SAT. At times, they have been confused with the shortcut methods. So I modified these questions and I'll share them with you one by one. So we'll work on 10 questions. They will hopefully give you good practice. The very first question here is, the quadrilateral function f of x equals to ax squared plus bx plus c has negative constants a and c. So only a and c are negative. Which of the following could be graphs of the function? We are given 5 options. Now, when a is negative, means when a is less than 0, that means that the parabola will open downwards, right? So when a is less than 0, parabola has to open downwards, correct? Therefore, these two are out and we have to look into these 3. Now, we are not given any condition for b. B could have any value. That is very important to understand, right? We only know that a is less than 0 and c is also less than 0. So both are negative. Now, if I look into this particular graph, I could write this function as y equals to, if I am writing negative coefficient for a, negative x squared means the graph opens downwards, and a negative value of c, minus 1. So I could get a graph like this where this value is minus 1. Perfect. Now see what happens if I increase the value of b. In this particular case, I am taking b as equal to 0, right? Now here what happens? If I take value of b as, let us say, a large value, right? So we have y equals to minus x squared. And if I say, let's say b is minus 5x and then minus 1. So in this particular case, what you will see is that the graph will have 2 x-intercepts, right? So then that situation is possible that we have 2 x-intercepts, right? Because if you do x equals to, find the roots, which is like 5 plus minus square root of b square, which is 25, minus 4 times ac, which is 4, divided by 2 times a, or minus 2, right? In that case, since this is positive, we have 2 roots. So that means this situation is possible, correct? Now if I take another equation, which is y equals to, let us say, minus x minus 2x minus 1. Now here, the situation which is represented by the third graph is possible. Since I could write this as minus 1 times minus 1, right? That will give me this equation, right? So basically what we see here is that for different values of b, any of these 3 are possible. And therefore, our answer is going to be not just one of these, right? It could be C, D, or E, right? Or any combination. Is it okay? Not one of them. So that is very, very important to understand. Just by taking few sample values for A, B, and C, you may arrive at a particular result, but truly speaking, that is not the correct answer, correct? So I hope you understand the concept and then try to solve them. Perfect. Well, in SAT, most of the questions will have only one solution. So you're looking for one. But at times, we might have missed some important criteria in the question. So my suggestion is to look into that. Okay. So let's do some more questions here. The next question here is, I have 2 actually on this particular page. Let's see how to solve them. Find 6x minus y if 27 to the power of 2x divided by 3 to the power of y is equals to 9 square. Now in such questions, you don't really have to solve for x and y. right, you have to solve for an expression. Now let's see how to solve. So 27 could be written as 3 to the power of something, which is 3 cubed. So we'll rewrite the left side and the right side as powers of 3. So 27 we could write 3 to the power of 3 and then to the power of 2x. In denominator we already have 3 to the power of y. Okay, and here 9 could be written as 3 to the power of 2 whole square. Now that gives you, applying the rules for exponents, we get 3 to the power of 3 times 2 6, x minus y, since this is in the denominator, equals to 3 to the power of 2 times 2, which is 4. And so we get our result 6x minus y is equal to 4, correct? So that is the solution for such a question. So you don't have to really solve for x and y and then do x minus y. So I hope the concept is clear. Now the second question here is also very similar. Now here the question is, we have to find x minus y, right? We have to find x minus y, not just x and y. And we are given, if 4x minus 3y equals to 5 and 3x minus 4y equals to minus 16, then what is x minus y? You will observe that if you add these equations, then what do you get? Let's see. So if you add, you get 7x minus 7y equals to minus 11. Now dividing by 7, you get x minus y equals to minus 11 over 7. So that becomes your answer, right? So don't get into solving equations. Well, these are not the tricks. This is how you should see a question, right? Let's move on and take another example. Now, I have purposely avoided giving you multiple choice questions here, since you could substitute and get the answer, right? The idea is to understand how to solve such equations, right? Once you understand that, it will be very easy to take any SAT question based on similar questions. So here again, we have two questions to work with. Let's take them one by one. Solve the following equation. We have fractions here. Now whenever you're working with fraction, it is very important to find the lowest common denominator or lowest common multiple. So in this case, what is LCM? LCM in this case will be 36, right? 9 times 4, 36, 12 times 3, 36. So LCM is 36. So the strategy is avoid fractions. So instead of learning tricks, you need to learn strategies. So how do you avoid fractions? You multiply by the LCM, I mean 36, right? So you multiply by the LCM. So what we get? We have x minus 4 over 9x equal to 1 over 4 plus 5 over 12. So what we are going to do here is multiply each and every term with 36, correct? So multiply each and every term with 36. 36 times this, 36 times this, 36 times this, 36 times this. Now once you do that, you can simplify and then get a linear equation to solve with, right? Now here we know 9 times 4 is 36, 4 times 9 is 36, 12 times 3 is 36. So once you've done this, you can write your equation as a linear equation, which is 36x. Now here you have minus 4x equals to 9 plus 3 times 5, 15. You can combine these two. 36x minus 4x will give you 32x. Now mind it, all these exercises are without calculator. All these exercises are without calculator, right? So 9 plus 15 is 24. X is equals to 24 over 32. You can divide both by 8, right? So 8 times 3 and 8 times 4. So we get your result as x equals to 3 over 4. It doesn't really take much time. Now here is the next question. Y equals to minus 2 times x minus 3 whole square. So I'll put a star here. You should actually understand how to solve such a quadratic equation. Now the method is, solving really means we have to find for what value do you get y equals to 0. This is the first step. So equate 0 for y and then solve for x. So you can write this as like this. Take 8 to the other side. You could divide by 2 at this stage also. Then divide by minus 2. That is indeed 4. Let me rewrite 4 this time. Since it is square, we'll square root it. And whenever you square root, don't forget to write plus and minus. Correct? So that gives you plus and minus 2 equals to x minus 3, or x is equal to, taking 3 on this side, we can write x equals to 3 plus minus 2. So we get two solutions here. X 3 plus 2 as 5 and 3 minus 2 as 1. So we have two solutions for the given equation. You could always verify this, right? So if I substitute 5 here, 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 square is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 8 plus 8 is 0. Similarly for 1. 1 minus 3 is 2. 2 square is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 8 plus 8 is 0. So that is indeed the correct solution. So let's move on and take a few more questions. Now here are two questions which will involve factoring. I'd like you to pause the video, copy these questions and solve, right? We need to solve the following equations. First one here is x cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x minus 10 equals to 0. The next one is x cubed times x squared minus 5 equals to minus 4x. Now the very first one, you can see that 2 times 5 is 10, and this is also 1:5 ratio. So we could factor by grouping, right? So factor by grouping, we could write this as x squared is common. So we get x minus 5 plus 2 is common. We get x minus 5 equal to 0. Now x minus 5 can be taken as a common factor, and we get x squared plus 2 equals to 0. Now x squared plus 2 is never 0. Only solution is x minus 5 equal to 0, which gives you x equals to 5. So here we have only one solution. It is a cubic equation. We were expecting 3, but we have only one real solution. So let me write down real solution here. Okay. The next question here is 3 times 2 is 5. So it is 5-degree equation. We expect maximum 5 answers. So that is also a key. Whenever you begin with, you should know how many solutions you may get, right? Since the degree is 5, we may get 5 answers. Now let's see how to solve this. So we have, now don't open. Straight away, we will do factoring, okay? So we have x cubed times x squared minus 5. Bring it to this side, plus 4x equal to 0. Now x is common. We say x, and we could do this as x squared times x squared minus 5. And here we are left with 4 equals to 0. So one of the solution is x equals to 0. Perfect. Now let's work on the inside term. We have one factor. This time we will open it now. So we get x to the power of 4 minus 5x squared plus 4 equal to 0. Now x, this is like a quadratic equation with product of 4, sum of minus 5. I could write this as x squared minus 4 times x squared minus 1, right, equals to 0. So that gives us a lot of solutions, correct? Now we have a solution because of this x, we have a solution because of that, and because of this. So let's write them down one by one. Now because of this, we have x equals to 0. Now because of this factor, you can equate it to 0. We get x equals to plus minus 2. And here we get x equals to plus minus 1. So we have 5 solutions. X equals to 0, plus minus 1, and plus minus 2. Right? So that is very important to understand. A polynomial with 5 degrees, you may get 5 solutions. It is not a must. See, a polynomial with degree 3, we had only one solution. The other two were imaginary. Do you see that? So we could have imaginary solutions also. Therefore, I added the word real solutions. Now here is a multiple choice question which you could see in your paper. The question is, how many possible distinct solutions will the following equation, I have taken only one, equation have? So distinct solutions will the following equation have? The equation is a times a times a equals to a plus a plus a. Choices are 0, 1, 2 or 3. So the left side could be written as a cube. So when you multiply a times a times a cube, when you add them, you get 3a. To get the number of solutions, don't cancel a's, otherwise you lose one solution. Let's bring them to one side. Factoring is the key. So do factoring whenever solving questions like this. So you get a common, a square minus 3 equals to 0. Now that gives you, this factor will give you one solution and this factor will give you two solutions because of the square here. So we get a equals to 0 as one solution, and here we get a equals to plus minus square root of 3. So how many solutions are there? There are 3 solutions. So the option D is the correct option. Perfect. So that is how you are going to solve such questions. I hope it makes sense. Now here is a question from geometry or measurements. The question is, what is the volume of a cube whose surface area is 60 meters square? So what is a cube? Cube has how many surfaces? So we'll just sketch one. We have 6 surfaces in a cube, correct? If each side is S, let us say, if each side is S, in that case, what is the surface area? Well, the surface area is, let me say SA. There are 6 surfaces like this. 6S square is the surface area. We are given this surface area is equal to 60. That really means that S is equal to how much? S square is 60 over 6, which is 10, and S is equals to square root of 10. It will always be positive since it is a side, right? How about the volume? Now volume is S cube. So we have square root of 10 cube, right? So square root of 10 cube, how can you write? So that is what you need to think about. So square root of 10 cube really means that you have within the square root 10 times 10 times 10. Does it make sense to you? So 2 of them could be taken out as 10 and then you get 10 square root 10. And of course the units will be meter cube. So option A is the right option, correct? So that is how you could actually solve it. At times you may see these options in exponent forms, and this could be written as 10 to the power of 3 over 2, right? At times we may give you exponents here. So take care of that. But I hope that was simple. Let's move on and let's take some other questions based on geometry. And this one is trigonometry. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. So we are given 2 similar triangles. BC equals to 16. AC is 20. Find sine of angle F. So we have to find sine F. Now since these are similar triangles, we are given that the ratio DF is 1/3 of AC. But we need not worry. Since they are similar triangle, angle F should be equal to angle C, right? And therefore, we could write this as equals to sine of angle C, right? Because they are similar triangles. Because similar triangles. Is it okay? Now, we can use Pythagorean theorem to find AB. So AB will be square root of 20 square minus 16 square. Perfect. So sine C, as you know, sine is opposite side over hypotenuse. So it is equals to square root of 20 square minus 16 square. Now mind it, this is without calculator. So you have to do some calculations yourself, and we get that over 20. Now how do you solve this? Let me rewrite this. You could do difference of square. You know, a square minus b square is a plus b times a minus b. Very important formula which can always be utilized. So here we could write this as square root of 20 minus 16 times 20 plus 16, correct? Divided by the hypotenuse, which is 20. Now that gives you square root of what? 20 minus 16 is number 4 and 20 plus 16 is 36 divided by 20. Now square root of 4 is 2, square root of 6 is 36 is 6 divided by 20. Do you see that? Now it is very simple. You can actually simplify it. Dividing by 2, you get 3 over 5. So 3 over 5 is option C for you. So that is your correct answer. So I'd like you to go through these steps once again. When the triangles are similar, don't try to find sides of DEF and then that ratio. Since the triangles are similar, straight away get to triangle ABC. They have exactly same angles and therefore the sine value is also same. Perfect. So that should save a lot of time for you. Now here is another question. We are given two isosceles triangles as shown, right? Well, it is not to the scale. Drawing not to scale. Right? Now, 2y equals to 180 degrees minus z and y is 75 degrees. Find x. So we have to find this angle, x. What are we given? We are given that 180 degrees minus z is 2y. Okay, so this is z, that is the triangle. That means as an isosceles triangle, these two sides are equal, perfect, and sum of these two sides is 2y. That means each is y. Does it make sense to you? So what do we have? Z plus 2y is 180, right? Z plus 2y is 180. So that is clear. So clearly we can find what x is. X is equals to 180 degrees minus y. Y is given to us as 75. So it is so simple, which is 105 degrees. Sorry, there are no options giving 105 degrees here. So there must be a typing error, right? So let me add option E as 105 degrees. Is it okay? So we get option E, which is 105 degrees, and that is how you're going to find it. So let's move on to the next question. It's a word problem. Each hamburger has 50 more calories than fries. If 2 hamburgers and 3 orders of fries have total of 1700 calories, how many calories does a hamburger has? So what we are given? Each hamburger, let's say H, has 50 more calories than fries. And we are also given 2 hamburgers. We are also given 2 hamburgers and 3 orders of fries is equal to, in calories, 1700. We need to find the calories of hamburgers. So we need to eliminate F. Very simple, right? We need to eliminate F to find H. So let's rewrite this equation in terms of F. So we can say H minus 50 equals to F and substitute this value here. Perfect. This is what you're going to do. So you get 2 hamburgers plus 3 times hamburger minus 50 equals to 1700. Correct? So we get 2H plus 3H minus 150. Distributive property. Don't forget to multiply 50 also equals to 1700. So that is 5h. Taking 150 to the right, we get 1700 plus 150, which is 1850. And so h is equal to 1850 divided by 5. Correct? So we do this. 1850 divided by 5. You could actually multiply and divide by 2. Multiply by 2, divide by 2. That is simpler. But anyway, we'll just divide by 5. 5 times 3 is 15, 35, which is 7. And then bring down 0. So we get 0, 0. 370 is now your answer. Do you see that? So that is how you could do it. The alternate way is here, multiply both by 2, right? So you get 3700 over 10, which gives you 370. So any method. Division by 5 is also 2 over 10. Perfect. So the question here is, by 7 p.m., 1/3 of students were in the hall. By 8 p.m., 30 more arrived, raising attendance to half of the total expected. How many students were expected in the hall? So let us say, let it be X. X students expected. Now let's write down an equation and solve. At 7 p.m., 1/3 of students were in the hall. That means 1/3 of X. By 8, 30 more arrived. That means plus 30. Raising attendance to half the total. That means is equal to half of X. So you get a very simple equation to work with. And now to solve X, get rid of fractions. Get rid of fractions. So we apply strategies, not tricks. So the LCM is equal to 6. So we are going to multiply each term by 6 here. So we'll do 6 times this, 6 times this, 6 times this. So once you do that, we could write our equation. Simplify here. That goes 2 times. And this also goes 3 times this. Okay. So the equation is 2x plus 180 equals to 3x. Take x to this side, 180 equals to 3x minus 2x, or x is equal to 180. So that is the choice C for us. So you have seen how easily we can actually solve all these questions, provided we focus on strategies, not on tricks. Well, at times, if you do not have any strategy, then you can do trial and error, substitute few numbers, check your answers. You could do that. You could do back calculation and some things like that. But first, my suggestion is straight apply the method and the strategies which you have learned with me. I'd like you to do some more practice questions so that you are almost ready for SAT. Thanks for watching. All the best. And if you like and subscribe, that'll be great. Thank you.